Hey, what is up, guys? It's Jack here, and welcome back to another Jurassic World Evolution 2 video. So in this one, we're going to be creating a Biosyn Sanctuary from Jurassic World Dominion. Now, this was suggested on my Discord. If you guys want to join, the link is in the description below. There you can communicate with the community that we have on our YouTube. You could post pictures of your pets, of your parks, and you could also suggest builds for me in the future that you guys want to see. This was suggested by Taylor in my Discord, also known as Flight Simmers. It was this was highly suggested in the past. Um, my only issue with Biosyn is the fact that there was hardly any overview of it, any like mappage of it in the movie. We just know that it's a large forest full of dinosaurs. And Taylor over here actually gave me maps and stuff as well. So thank you, Taylor. You made this possible for everyone that wants to see a Biosyn Sanctuary recreation. Um, but we are going to be doing an interesting take on this. So on the maps on your screen, there's two maps. You have one of the Hyperloop tunnels, and then you have another one, which is the actual map with the like terrain map of the Biosyn Sanctuary, including the airfield. Now, the map itself, it's going to be difficult to do. I will probably follow this as close as I can, but note that the map has roads going all throughout this valley area. So, unfortunately, we can't do that because the area of the Biosyn map is only this small area of the map itself. So it it's kind of difficult to actually make something big super small. But anyways, let's get into the build. So this is our actual building area that we're going to be able to build in. It's not that much compared to the actual size of the valley itself. Now, unfortunately, we're going to have to downsize this entire map. So what I'm going to be using from the terrain map are the roads, water, and the area that the trees and the fields are. That's what I usually do with any of the maps. So that's going to be our main priority with that. The other map, on the other hand, with the airfield, that one is going to be actually where we decide to place our like viewing galleries, our what are they called? Watchtowers. I don't remember what they're specifically called in this game, but those things. You know what I'm talking about. The airfield we are going to actually be building right here in this little tumor of land. That's just kind of separated from everything else. So we can actually use the rest of this for the entire park itself. I was thinking about what I could be doing with this and where I would want to be putting the airfield, since we're putting the airfield in the actual park area itself. Note that I do know that the airfield is actually outside of the valley. You guys don't need to comment that. I was just told to actually do the airfield. So I'm doing it. So we're going to pretend that this right here is going to be a mountain. So we're going to be putting the airfield here on the ground, and then we're going to have a mountain next to it, just to kind of have it feel like it's not anywhere near the park itself. And this is where we would be putting our buildings, like our operations buildings and all that stuff, just because we want to create the environment near the airfield as like operations-esque, where the actual valley itself is a sanctuary, right? So our operations buildings are going to be at the airfield, and our dinosaurs are going to be in the actual sanctuary itself. And so the airfield is a straight path to the actual compound. So we're going to be taking that into consideration, but we also have to note that this area over here on our right, it's completely out of that straight path. So this area right here might just be our caves. I do know that the caves have the Hyperloop tunnel going through them, so we'll see how that goes. So basically, we're gonna be using our thoroughfares and our paths, these gray ones, as our like actual runway. And for our dashes, we're gonna be using the facility path. So I'll honestly put these right here just so you guys can see them. We're gonna be using a mix of the thoroughfares and the paths. And that's pretty much all we're gonna be using for it. So when it comes to the different little pathways that we could have, we want to make it that the middle little path area is as small as it can get. Now, that can be somewhat of an issue. So what we're gonna actually do for it is we're gonna place down one of these attraction buildings. This is gonna be the weirdest thing that you guys probably have ever seen. But we're gonna be placing down one of these attraction buildings, right? We're gonna be placing it down right here. Right? And then we're gonna take our tour route and we're gonna just extend it all the way to the end, right? So what we want to do with this is we want to extend this as well, but we also want to take our main thoroughfares and connect it to this path as close as we can to the straight line, and then just have it honestly just go out one entire way, right? And then we want to do the same thing, but we want to get rid of this thing right here, right? Which means we're gonna have to honestly break this apart like so. And we're gonna put this right here so we know that's our starting point for this line, right? And we want to make it as small as possible right here without them touching, or without it, like, you see how right here it goes straight, and if I go closer it just curves. We want it to be a straight line, right? So right here, this is where we would be switching our pathway around. Okay, so if we want to just do this, we can just connect this right here, remove this, and we can honestly just remove the rest of this. That's how we're gonna get this little line right here as small as possible without it being too much of a hassle. Now, since this is a 747 runway, a large planes runway, we are going to be extending this 4 times. Okay. Same thing with this side. And then connect it. Okay. And at each point where it snaps, right? You can see that you can connect it, but we have to also be careful because you can see that on some of these there's the curve, on some of them there isn't. That's an issue that we're gonna have, but honestly, what we can do with that, we can easily put lights down or something just to block it. But again, this is an airfield. My thought process is going to be logical and operational more than decorative. That's how it's always been when it came to actual like videos or like designs. Like specifically using this, I would use this if I was playing like a modded one, and I'd just sink them into the ground using that one mod that you can actually move. No, unfortunately, there's no like things that you can place on the ground that is just like a tile until the next game. But so in that case, we're just gonna be using the small. We're gonna be using the small paths, the standard paths, and then just breaking it apart. So we're gonna go to the snap, and we're gonna link them together there. Same thing here, snap and link them. Okay, so we have 4 different sections. Within each of those sections, we are going to be breaking it apart again in the middle. It's okay if it isn't like directly in the middle. I'm a perfectionist, and you know, honestly, it's okay for me. So you know, it could be it's gonna be okay for you. So like yeah. So again, we're gonna be doing it again in the middle. Okay. Now, remember that we have to make this into like an actual operations area. So I'm actually going to remove these 2 parts back here. The parts that were giving me issues. Yes, I know. Right. And we're going to put that there. Or we're going to switch that wide path or that standard path. Then we're going to be taking our facility path, going from the end. And for every 3, we're going to just connect it. We don't want to go through it all because there might be the case where the path just overwrites the other path. And we just don't want to deal with that. Okay. So this is our paths for, or this is our runway. So this will be our main runway. We could easily do a decoration around it if we want to. I will not be doing a decoration. Because the pathway for the BIOSYN Airfield is very, very simple. Now, I know that in this specific map that we have of the airfield, there's 2 of them, right? The small one and the big one. In the movie, I believe we have it like the small one is connected to the big one, if I'm correct. It looks like it. Yeah, it definitely looks like it. So I think we're gonna be doing that, right? Have like it like extend out back. But right here, what we're going to be doing is we're gonna be doing something a little bit extra. We are going to be this is gonna be very annoying, guys. We are going to be taking our standard paths, right? We're going to be extending this out by 1. And then we're going to go out 1 more. In this center one, we're going to be using our facility path. Okay. Then we're going to do out 1 more. Connect it. Go out 3. Okay. We might go only 2. Let me double check this real quick. Let me make sure this actually looks the way I want it to be. So I'm gonna have to actually make it. So we are going to divide this one, center one, and we're gonna do it again. Okay. So in these center ones, we're gonna take the facility path and then just expand it all the way down. So. Okay. So instead of having this one here, we're actually gonna have it go right here, just above the rest. we want it to be smaller than that, so we're gonna have to put down one of our larger paths. Okay. We don't want to mess with this area yet, so we're gonna leave that looking like that. And we're gonna place this right here. Okay. Now, if we had like the wider paths, I definitely use them, but unfortunately, we are using the facility paths because I don't think any of these other paths match what we got. Okay. So then this entire area is going to be added to the runway, right? Now I know you're saying, Jack, you can just put some decorations here, right? If I really wanted to, I could honestly just have this go all the way straight down, right? But you guys can do that, but I won't be doing that. I'll just be extending this pathway, right, all the way through to this point right here, right? So, oh wait, actually no, we weren't supposed to do that. So we keep, I completely forgot. We keep this one, right? We keep this one over here. And instead of it connecting right here, we want it to actually go up one and connect like this. Like so. And then this is where you actually can do your lines if you want to do your lines, right? If you guys want to put some decorative lines right here, go ahead. But my whole point about this is still technically the runway. These lines on the side right here. Because this right here is a part of the runway. So I'm going to simply just extend this. Same thing right here. So. And this is all going to still just be one runway. Okay. Then we connect this. Then boom. Another thing that I was going to do was I was going to put lights on the sides. All right. So it's going to be really annoying to actually really do, because we're going to just be placing a ton of lights. So I'll show you what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to speed through it for you guys. So we either have these lights, these ones, I think that might be, yeah, we have these, but these are like for something else. These would be like in this case right here, right? Or in this case, when you think about it, where do we put the lights when the plane is landing? It's towards the plane, right? So you can see where the plane lifts off from. So the plane knows where to stop. So that's where we can put these lights right here, right? Let me see if there's any other lights that we can do. We could honestly use these, right? Although they kind of will be kind of weird looking. No, not those. I think these are the only ones we're probably going to deal with. So, specifically, the ones that I want to use are the small ones, right? The very small ones, and I think these are the Jurassic Park ones. Classic lights too. And instead of putting them on the sides right here, what I'm going to do is I am going to put these lights right here. Okay. So these are our lights. Note that these will not be reached by the plane. The plane is supposed to be lifting off before this. So here, this is where I would actually put the where is it? Barriers, the concrete barriers. So these right here, these are going to be placed right here. Honestly, start from the middle and just send it outward. I think so. Okay. Now these lights that I wanted to use, these are very tall. But these more so like belong because you don't want the plane to like clip its like wing as it's like taking off, right? So these lights would specifically be over here more. Because at this point the plane is supposed to be like at an angle, taking off. Plane should realistically be in the air by this point. So it should not hit these lights. So what we're going to do with these lights are we're going to be placing these in the center. Or actually, no, we're going to be placing them in these back two right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, and then one more on the outside. 5. Okay. Cool. Now, if we want to, we could put more lights after these ones. So we can do 1, 2, and 3. And then here we can just do 1. So we kind of have like the whole like at the airport you have like the reflective lights on the other side, so you know like, oh, don't come this way, the planes are landing here. So that's what we're pretty much doing with that. Okay. So let's actually remove all of our random stuff that we have placed on the ground here. Something with these. So this is our first runway, right? This is for our bigger planes, right? So it's not supposed to be too much. The private area is going to be right here, right? No. Planes are landing this way. The private area is going to be right here. Yeah, because you want them to be able to go take like a right or a left. In our case, a right. The hangar. Actually, we can put the hangar right here. We don't have to have it right here. And this makes more sense. Let's do it this way. So here we're going to be doing another runway. So we're going to do what we did before, right? We're going to take our attraction, place it down, and use its pathway as like a crossing point. So before we did this, now we're going to do it like this. So what we want to do here is we want to take our main pathway, and we pretty much want to do this at the end of the runway. Oh, right, we're supposed to connect it. I can't even oopsie here. I put this the wrong way, but it's okay. It's okay. This is okay. This is not okay. Let me just go out one more. There we go. Okay, so this... Let's have this go right here. Again, we want to make this straight. Okay. And we could honestly just get rid of this. This isn't gonna go that far. Honestly, I don't even think it's gonna go this far. I think it's honestly just gonna go like somewhere right here. So we know that this is where it crosses. So we want to, again, do this whole thing where we want to check to see if it goes straight. It goes straight up here. And then we connect it like so. Okay, then we can remove all of this stuff. Boom. And we can make another runway. I should have probably thought about this sooner. We want to make these look like this. Wait, it wouldn't matter anyways. The other things are predetermined. So for this pathway then, we're just gonna honestly then do... We're just gonna have this connect. Actually, have it go through. Have it go through right here. Right? And this one right here goes all the way out there, but it has the off area right here. Okay. If we want to, we could honestly get rid of this too. And instead have it connect right here. I didn't do this because if we did this, then that means we'd have to extend it out one more this way. And the way we have this made is planes are landing this way. Right? So when they land, we want them to take a left to the hangars and stuff. We don't want them to take a right because the plane making this sharp of a turn would be difficult. And in this way, they're already headed this way. So it's just a matter of how we want them to turn. So in this case, what we're going to be doing is we're just going to have it go this way. Okay, we're going to keep that connected bit right there. We don't really have a connected bit over here. So we're just going to divide this into different sections. Just eyeballing it, completely eyeballing it, right? So, and then we're just going to fill in the blank. We're not going to put that much effort into this area. Because this is not really important, right? Perfect. And if we want to, we could also add like a taxiing runway, right? Where if we want the plane to just go this way, normally we would want to use like a separate, like different looking path. Honestly, something like this, right? Where we would have the plane go onto the runway like so. But we have to make it... we would have to make this stupid, pretty wide. So we would have to have it go. Okay. I'm just going to connect that right there because I have a feeling that's going to be an issue. Like so. And that could be like our taxiing runway, right? Okay. Then at the end over here, what we can do is we could add our hangars and all that stuff. I would want to use this one because it actually looks like a hangar for a plane, right? So we can just put this one right here. And we would want to just completely ignore the vehicles there, right? Unless there's another building that looks like this. I would use a BIOSYN one, but none of them look like that. All right. So here to just get rid of this, we can just honestly just connect this to the runway. This isn't from here. And we could honestly just connect this here as well. Have like a little walking path on the end of this. Where this takes you to somewhere else. I don't know where this is going to take us, but it's going to take us somewhere else. Okay. Now this is where we want to place our operations buildings, right? This is off the ramp, right? And we actually want to place these buildings down. So this is where our entrance is, right? This is where everything's going to be, where we want to start off everything. Which means, because I don't think we can we? Does this count as an entrance point still? Oh, this does. So honestly, what we want to do here is we just want to place down our control center because this is where our control center will be. Now we don't want anything blocking this area right here. So from our image of our map, what we want to do with this is we want to make it have a straight line to our actual entry point. So our entry point is right there. Honestly, any point right here would work. I feel like we should have this like right here. Okay, and then this is where we just straight up mess with this. We can. This is where we straight up just have it go straight. Let's see where this takes us actually if we just have it keep on going straight. Right there. So actually taking this into consideration, we could, instead of having this go straight here, we could re-angle it. And what I mean by that is we could have this go straight down right here, which I think it might be already in position for. Is that already in position for that? Pretty much is. And on the left side, there's more space anyways. So I think we're going to stick with that then. This is going to go straight down this way. Honestly, this doesn't even have to be our main path, right? This can be like the thing that just connects it, boom, 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 right? But for right now, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna have this connect. We'll design the path later and actually place down buildings that where it could actually switch. and connect to different other paths. So for right now, we're just gonna have it go like that. Okay. Next thing we want to do is we want to actually connect the path. Okay, that gets rid of all of our issues. Okay. Next thing we want to place is some of our other buildings. Now, the fossil center, we definitely don't need. The ones with the helicopters, we want to actually place these. The paleo medical facility, this is something that would actually be like behind the scenes, not even seen by like the helicopter area. This would be a good place for it right here. Same thing with our response facility, right? This is another place where we would just have it just randomly just out on the side. Expedition center. We would want our expedition center to actually be placed near the pathway over here, because it has the helipad and everything. And maybe we would actually want to look at some of the other ones and see what we can add to this. So normally we'd probably add the Jurassic ones. Let's just... Honestly, the other helipad, this being the other helipad, actually would look nice too. So we can go with that. Staff centers, we don't need them. Fossil centers, we don't need them. They're just other decorations that we would have for no reason. Again, we want to make this look like an off the runway type of facility so far, right? So we don't even need this back here, right here. If we want to, we can continue it, have it go around, but we don't honestly even need that. Okay, we're just gonna put this here right now. Spread this out. Have this go straight. Okay. So as of right now, this is what our path looks like. Okay. So we can easily put a connection. Right? This we can get rid of right here. I don't see a reason to have it continue forward. This we would honestly have it like that. Think about moving this building closer. We move this building closer, which means we could actually move this again. Like so. This one can stay the way it is. Delete this end right here. This isn't actually connected to this. Let's connect it now. Most of this stuff, we won't want to have it squared or angled like this, where it's just completely just like a 90-degree angle. Right? What we'd want to do is... Well, we have a couple of vehicles here, right? We need to think about our actual mountain right here. So we're going to use this dark rock to just lay where we want to put our mountain. I propose we have a mountain go from here, actually, right? That goes along here. And again, it just cuts off this like tumor area. Now for right here, this might be an issue. I want to extend it a decent amount, but if it's going to cause problems, we can honestly have it just end like right here. But we also have to think about our vehicles going through. All right, this is where I would like add like unfortunately, I don't think we can add like tunnels or like have terrain go around certain things. Could have fake tunnels, but that wouldn't really make sense. And I'm assuming you can't. Yeah, you can't. Sorry, I've been playing with mods for too long. It just some of the stuff just doesn't make sense to me anymore. Okay. So I think our actual way to get around this mountain will be right here. All right. So we want a road for these vehicles. We're gonna do the road with sand for right now, at least for right now. So we want a road like right here, and we want this to connect to that road. We want a road right here and right here for these two vehicles. Okay. And this road, we don't want it to go too close to the mountain because the mountain, this is going to be the high point of the mountain, right? So the mountain's going to actually go down, like how these ones are. It's going to go down. So we don't want it to be too close to the pathway, or else it'll just overtake the pathway. So in this case, we're going to bring this close to the very edge of the map. And have it go out right here. Let me actually refine this area by doing the double-sized. I just real it doesn't, it's too small. Nice. Right. So this is where our path would actually start forming from the map itself. Okay. So what we'd want to do is we'd actually want to place physical fences because we don't want our vehicles going over this mountain. That would just cause so many issues that don't need to be there. So what we can do is we can form this mountain, and then at the very base, we hide these fences. Another thing we should probably add is our hydro power hub. I just thought of that right now. This could honestly be the building that's right here. Now, again, you don't want like clearance issues with our buildings, right? And I don't want to place this building on the outside where we have to cross again to get to it. Which honestly, it's clearance issues right there. You know, let's place down this mountain first. Okay. So this, focus up as much as we can. Okay, do it again. Flatten the top. Right? This is gonna be our mountain. I know it's not high, like, no, it's not that high, but this is gonna be our summit of our mountain. Now what we want to do is we want to take this and follow through all the way through, making sure that it all flattens out. Now it's okay if our path is hit by the exterior. We just want to make sure that the entire top of this mountain goes over our rocky area. Okay, like so. Then from there, we could honestly just take the rocky area and just make it taller. It's not gonna matter because this is the mountain, the higher the better, right? When it comes to mountains inside the actual park, because you obviously can't make these mountains without taking the entire area up. So we just want to make this as high as we can without it taking up too much space. Now there's certain areas like this which are going to be an issue. An easy solution to that is honestly we can just make it smaller. Smaller and then just change the pathway, right? So bring this down a little bit. We can have this elevated just a little, right? Give it something different. Lope it down at some point. Right? Now on this side, we want this to kind of be like these mountains over here, right? So we want to take larger areas and bring them out like that. Okay. And then we have these little open areas right here. This right here is the most important part of the mountain, where it starts to go down, and this road can actually come through. Okay. So right here specifically, we want this area to be semi-flat. Not flat, sloped. Right? This is where our trees are going to be on the side of this mountain. Right? And then we want to take our raise tool and just slope them up at the highest points of these little areas. Right, so this area right here, this would be for like the trees and stuff that just are all around the mountain, right? Same thing with right here, right here. This one right here, we might actually want to put that down. And you have like other parts like right here that are part of the mountain. They're going to be used to actually dip it down, right? So we're going to have a little dip. Right here too, we want to boop, boop. And then we want to dip it. And then we want to bring it back up, down, like so. Okay. Then if you notice something about these mountains, none of these mountains have like the darker texture for the rocks. So you can tell that this rock right here is supposed to be the rock that we place on the actual mountain itself. Now, we are gonna just paint over this entire mountain with the rock where it's supposed to be rocky. Everything else is gonna be trees, right? So this is supposed to be rocky, right? This is supposed to be rocky. This is supposed to be rocky. This is supposed to be rocky, right? Right here is going to be having some trees, but we're going to still place some rocks right there. This is going to be rocky all the way through. This is, and right there as well. Now it's time for this side. This side, we are going to be mainly having trees close to the edge, right? So like in this case, we want to flatten this out a little bit more. So we have an actual predetermined path of where we want the road to go, right? We don't want the road to be too messed up. Okay. Then we're going to take our biosyn trees and we're just going to fill up this entire area right here. Right. And then we're going to take our Jurassic Park into hands. Like when we, sorry, that made no sense. We're going to take our Jurassic Park building method into hands. Okay. Now this might be different. So the thing I like about Biosyn is the Biosyn trees, you can place them close to the actual buildings themselves. You can place them so close to the buildings themselves. Now, we're going to want to do some weird stuff with these trees when it comes to the actual mountain right there. This, we could honestly just put trees around. And then we could have our open field. Now, we don't have any like long grass or whatever. But in the picture of the our, what is this place called? Airfield? We have a lot of vegetation on the ground, it looks like. But the thing is, these don't really look like it. So we're gonna honestly mix it up a bit with these two different shrubbery that we have. And then we're gonna try to put some of this ground fiber down. Right? Make it look like a field or of some sort. Right? And then in the picture itself, we actually have one of these research centers on the side. For some reason, it's just on the side. So I don't know what the point of this was. But we're gonna just place it right here. And then we're just gonna connect it to this. And I'm actually starting to think that maybe in the picture of the map with the airfield on it, they have this like H3, H2, right? I want to know what these numbers mean. Like, but the actual meaning for like the different H's are and stuff. And I'm assuming that means that there's multiple of these like little research outposts. Just randomly just on the edge, you know? I mean, I'm only probably gonna do the one because we honestly don't have enough space as it is. We could honestly just do another one though, like right here. And we can connect it to this one. Right? And we still have to figure out how we're gonna do this. We still have to figure out how we want to do this. Like, this is the main Hyperloop area. Okay. We're gonna take some consideration, some creative consideration. What is it called? I used to say it a lot because everyone kept getting pissed at me that I wasn't like following plans and stuff for building Jurassic World. Yeah, I don't know what it's called. Um, I'm honestly gonna be placing some of these trees closer right here. All right. So let's see what we can actually place with this tool in these slots. This right here, we're gonna do like some decoration, so we don't have to think about that. This, on the other hand, we're gonna put some more trees there then. I want to hide this, and then this we want to kind of hide as well. Wish we can shorten that. But, what if we add some trees here? No, that just completely derails everything. Let's place these back. So right here, we are going to be placing... I don't want to use this one. We will be placing these. Okay. Same thing with right here. Okay. Honestly, if we wanted to, we can place this right here too, but I kind of want to put nature right there. So we are going to be placing some of these trees down. Or actually, hold on. These trees aren't like the same vibe of this area. These trees are like the trees from the temperate biome. No, albeit they'll be good like right here and right here. And, like maybe like right here and like right here. But not like all throughout the entire area. Like this right here, we don't want any tail strikes. So it's not going to be in the center area right here. We could honestly put it right here. We don't want it right here. Okay. Thinking about tail strikes, this area right here would need to be open, huh? Okay. We're gonna remove these. I'm thinking about like, oh, if a plane comes through here, like, oh, is it gonna hit the trees? Is it gonna, you know, like, what is it gonna hit? So this is making me want to remove those trees that were here, so I can just place these one or place this pathway down. Uh, that's disgusting, but I mean, I'll live with that. Okay, and then we can just do some little decorations, just like random things that weren't actually a part of the movie, where we could actually just... No, I'm not gonna do tables and chairs in this area. I will say that now. Primarily because this area isn't like a little sitting area, you know? If you want to sit, if you want to enjoy your time, you go all the way to the compound over there. This area is just for decoration. This area is just like a welcome, you know? Which means we need more copper, actually. Someone's gonna take what I just said and be like, but you put down tables and chairs. I'm gonna yell at you. I am putting down benches. There's a difference between benches, tables, and chairs. Boom. Okay. And then right here, we can do like another little fountain. I actually haven't really used any of these biosyn things personally, like in any of my builds. Like in the bigger ones, I haven't used these bigger ones in any of my builds. So using them now actually really cool. Wing strike, that's okay. Alright, now for this pathway, actually, what I want to do with this is I want this to be very close, where it goes this way, and it connects like that. Means we could have this power station now. Either we can have this power station like right here now. Okay. Okay. And I know this is in the way of the truck, but we're just going to have it go around. They're vehicles. They move. Leave me alone. Okay, there we go. Now for this. This is kind of difficult because if we bring this closer, it takes down some of our mountain, and we don't really want to do that. Which is why we do a little slow. Now, another thing we could honestly do, right, is just completely ignore the fact that this is a mountain. And just do this. Where we have, because this is sloped down enough, where it can just be a forest on the end right here. Right? And then so what we can do is all this right here can just be sand until we get to like right here. Here we want to actually make sure our sand isn't like too much. Right. So as the mountain, as the forest actually goes through, I'm gonna have this go. Okay. Then we want to put some forest down like. Okay, well, this doesn't actually help us. This makes it worse because it doesn't want to put it close to this pathway. Maybe we can trick the game. I think we can trick the game, actually. No, we can't. Which means... Can you guess what that means? What rocks go here? Is it? It's not temperate, is it? It's alpine. Okay, yeah, it has to be alpine. Throw a rock right here. Maybe these big rocks. I can't place the rocks inside each other. Okay, boom. That's gonna be that. Let's place some trees. Oh, I swear. I'm gonna place some trees. And I'm gonna ignore the fact that I can't place trees close together. Nah, it's okay. I'm okay with doing this. This brings me back. Okay, and we can place down a little bit of these dead trees. God, I remember placing trees down like this all the time. Unironically, this would be like the longest part of my episodes. Placing down trees like this. Not anymore. I'm also very happy for that tree mod. Or the scenery, expanded scenery mod. That I've been using on like some of my other builds. That mod was absolute godsend. How does that look? That looks good. That's okay down there. That's okay right there. Boom. Only thing is, I feel like something right here is missing. Unfortunately, we do not have any planes either. Yeah, we don't have any planes that we can place down just for decoration. So we can't put any planes down. But for our first video, I think this is all good. Right, guys? That turned out very well. That actually looks very, very nice. Here's my mic. That looks very nice. But yeah, as I said, that is going to be it for our first video on this new Biosyn Sanctuary build. So in the next video, what we plan to do is I want to make the layout of the park, right? I want to create all like the dirt paths all along the sides and all that stuff. And I want to actually make it look really cool. So next episode we'll be doing the layout of the paths, the river that goes through it, and potentially we will actually put our enclosure markers down. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to leave a like, don't forget to subscribe, and join the Discord. The link is in the description. We want to do a lot of stuff in the future, and the Discord will be there for you guys, so you guys can join us for that. Anyways, stay tuned, guys, for the next episode and our live streams on Saturday and Sunday. Bye, guys.